Hello, American Fork High School. All right, it's just me and you. We're going to talk today about a handful of things, okay? All the rules that apply to my class normally will continue to apply. As far as note-taking skills are concerned, if I repeat something more than once, include it in your notes. If I say write this down, write it in your notes. And if I write it on the board, you need to write it in your notes. There's going to be a handful of things that I want you to write in your notes for this. I'm going to do a bunch. So your notes today should take up at least a page of notes, okay? So make sure that you're prepared to take lots of notes today for this lecture, okay? We're going to talk about borrowing money. We've talked a lot about interest, okay? I'm going to quiz you on a couple things, okay? Let's have you fill in the blank, all right? Those who understand interest. Oh, come on, we can do better than that. You need to repeat it, okay? Those who understand interest, that's right, earn it. And those who don't, that's right, pay it, okay? So those who understand interest, earn it. Those who don't, pay it, okay? And we've talked a lot about saving money. We've talked about earning interest. We've talked about compound interest. We read parts of the richest man in Babylon where he said we've got to get money working for us. You've got to build you an army of golden slaves, right? And so we've talked about earning interest, and that's an important and vital part of building wealth, okay? But I want to talk about debt, and I want to talk about borrowing money a little bit today. So we're gonna go through a handful of things to kind of try to help you understand how it works when you borrow money from a bank or a credit union or any other lending institution out there, okay? A couple of terms that I want to address right off the bat, okay? The first one I want to talk about is principal, okay? So here's how I want you to define principal in your notes, okay? Principal, as it relates to borrowing money, principal is the original amount that you borrow on a loan or the current amount that you owe. Okay, again, principal is the original amount that you borrow on a loan or the current amount that you owe. Now, sub, if you want to push pause now and give them time to write that down, this would be great. Make sure you have that down in your notes. Again, principal is the original amount that you borrow on a loan or the current amount that you owe. So when you're borrowing money, the principal amount is how much you borrow or how much you owe. Okay, I want to talk about interest. Okay, let's define interest as it relates to borrowing money. Okay, the definition I want you to write down for interest, it's the fee that you pay for borrowing money. Okay, again, interest is the fee that you pay for borrowing money. So you're going to borrow a principal amount and then you're going to pay interest on that loan. All right, and that's the fee that the bank or the credit union is charging you for borrowing that money. And we're going to look at how that works. Okay, oftentimes the interest rate is expressed in an APR. And we've talked about this before, but I want to make sure that you have this down in your note. APR stands for annual percentage rate. APR, annual percentage rate. So annual refers to the time or the year, right? Okay, percentage rate, that's going to be what they're charging you, and it's going to be a percentage of the principal amount that you're borrowing. Okay? So again, APR is the annual percentage rate. You need to make sure that you have that down in your notes, okay? All right. Now, what we're going to right now, I just kind of clean this board with. So anyways, we're gonna do what's called a loan amortization, okay? Amortization. A loan amortization table, okay? Now we'll write the whole thing out. Loan amortization table, okay? Okay. If I say that I'm going to amortize the loan, basically what we're doing when we amortize a loan is we're looking at, okay, what payments am I making on that loan? and how much interest will I end up paying on that loan. So it's a loan amortization table says, all right, let's look at how this loan is going to work over the life of that loan. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do a loan amortization table. We're going to do 3 of them. Okay, and as I write it on the board, I want you to write it in your notes. I want you to have all 3 of those loan amortization tables in your notes. Okay. But we're going to start out by saying, okay, we're going to borrow $10,000 from a bank, all right? And our APR on that is going to be 10%. So we got an APR of 10%. Now, that's not a good APR, but we're gonna get a better APR down the road. We're gonna look at a couple of things, okay? But there's a couple categories that we're gonna look at when we amortize this loan. The first thing we're gonna look at is the principal, okay? Now, we already defined that. We said that the principal is the original amount that you borrow on a loan or the current amount that you owe, right? So the principal amount in this case, we're going to say that we borrowed $10,000, okay? Now, when you borrow money, you're going to make payments on that loan, okay? Now, oftentimes you'll make a monthly payment on it, but we're amortizing this loan annually. We're doing an annual percentage rate, so we're looking at it year by year, okay? If we did this month by month and we did it over the course of 5 years, we'd have 60 lines here, okay? But we're going to do it by year and reduce the amount of lines that we have by 12, 12 times. So we're going to say that our monthly payment on this loan is $200 a month, okay? Which times 12 is $2,400. All right. Now, this is something that I want to make sure that you understand, and I want you to make sure that you write this down in your notes, okay? But the next 2 categories, sorry, I'm going to go. The next 2 categories are going to be interest paid and principal paid. Okay, so when you make payments, some of that payment is going to go to the interest. Some of that payment is going to go to the principal, okay? So then the question becomes, well, how much is going to interest and how much is going to principal? That depends upon what your APR is. In our case, our APR is 10%, right? So here's how we're going to calculate that. We're going to say, what is 10% of $10,000? The answer, $1,000, right? So the interest paid here is going to be $1,000. So out of my payment of $2,400 that I made throughout the year, 1,000 of that went to interest. So then how much of that went to principal? Well, 1,400 went to principal. See that? Okay, and so then I have a new balance here. Okay, and my new balance is going to be the principal minus the principal that I paid. So in this case, 10,000 minus 1,400, which is going to be 8,600. Okay, now, remember what we said about principal? We said principal is the original amount that you borrow on a loan or the current amount that you owe. So now, what is the current amount that we owe? We now owe 8,600 because we paid down the principal by 1,400. Okay? So if I wanted to go pay this loan off tomorrow, I would have to pay $8,600 to pay that off. Okay? That would be the principal amount. Okay? All right, so that's our new balance, okay, or our new principal amount. And we're going to continue to make payments of $2,400. Now I'm going to pause for just a second. No, I need my phone and my calculator. Give me a second. Okay, so our math is going to get a little more difficult, but right now it's not going to be too difficult because we're going to go 10% of 8,600 is how much? 860. Now I want you to notice something, okay? This year we paid $1,000 in interest. This year we're paying $860 in interest, okay? Why? Because we paid down the principal, okay? So keep that in mind, all right? Now, I paid $2,400 for the year, right? So how much of my payment went to principal? Okay, well, it's going to be 2,400 minus 860, which is going to be 1,540. Okay? So now you say my new balance is going to be 8,600 minus the principal that I paid of 1,540. Okay, and I'm going to just do that quickly on my calculator because I don't want to do it in my head right now. But 8,600 minus 1,540 equals 760. Okay, so 7,060. Okay, so that's my new balance. My new balance is 7,060. Okay, now I'm going to make payments on this loan, right? I'm going to continue to pay that $200 a month. So 2,400 is what I'm going to pay on it. What's the interest going to be this time? Well, what's 10% of 7,060? Well, it's 706. Okay? So, if I made a payment of 2,400 and 706 of that went to interest, 1,694 went to principal. Okay? So my new balance is going to be 7,060 minus 1,694. If you want to be doing this on your calculators while I'm doing it here, that's great. My new balance is going to be 5,366. Okay? So again, what are we doing here? What's this called? This is called a loan amortization table. So I'm amortizing this loan. Okay? So our new balance is 5,366. Okay? I'm going to make payments of 2,400. That's 200 a month for the year. That's going to be 2,400. 10% of 5,366, we're going to put 530, we'll round up to 7. 537. Okay, it's actually going to be, what, $536.60, but I'm not going to do decimals right now. Okay, so if 537 went to interest, how much went to principal? Well, I take 2,400 minus 537, 1,863 went to the principal, right? So I'm going to take this minus this, 5,366 minus 1,863 equals 3,503. Okay? There's my new balance, right? So my new principal amount is 3,503. Still making payments. Okay, and my interest this time is going to be 350. Okay, that's a little easier math, so that's going to put our payments at 2,050. Okay, and so if I do this minus this, my new balance is 1,453. Now, I want you to notice something. That number there is much smaller than this number here. Okay, so we're going to pay this loan off. Okay, it's not going to take the full year to pay it off. We're going to pay it off in less than a year. But just for the sake of our amortization loan right now, I'm not going to try to break it down month by month, and we're just going to look at it for the year. So what I'm going to calculate is what interest would I pay this year. I'm going to put 145, okay? That's 10% of 1,453, okay? Now, the principal that I'm going to pay on it is what's left, which is 1,453. So what I'm going to end up making in payments is going to be this plus this, okay, which is going to be 1,000, is that going to be 598, okay, approximately. And my new balance is going to be what? 0. That loan is paid off, okay? All right, this is a loan amortization table, right? Now, there's a couple of things that I want you to discover about this. I want to get your brain going, and I want you to understand and comprehend this, okay? First thing I want to do is let's add up all of the interest that I paid here, okay? Let's add all of those numbers up. So I'm going to add 1,000 plus 860 plus 706 plus 537 plus 350 plus 145, and that equals 3,598. So about $3,600, okay? Now folks, okay, I want you to understand something here, okay? That's how much interest you paid. That plus that is what you paid over the life of that loan. So if I added all of these up here, it would total the same as that plus that. Okay? If I add up all of this, what's that going to add up to? It should add up to $10,000 because that's the principal, right? That's the principal I paid. So the total amount that I paid over the life of this loan was $13,598. Okay? So, I want you to understand, hey, those who understand interest, that's right, earn it. Those who don't, that's right, pay it. What's happening here? They're paying a lot of money in interest. They paid $3,600 to the bank in interest on this loan. Okay? Now, we amortize this loan annually. If you do it month by month, it's going to be a little bit different than this. You're going to pay a little bit less interest in interest. Okay? But there's two ways. Okay? I want you to think about this. Okay? There are two ways that we could save money on this loan. Let's say that we have to get the loan. Maybe we need the loan. Maybe it's something, but let's say, what are two ways that you could save money on this loan? And this is something I want you to have in your notes, okay? And I want you to think about that. What are two ways that you could save money on this loan? First way, okay, is this APR, right? If we get a better APR, okay, and instead of paying 10%, we paid 5%, what would happen to the interest? We would pay a lot less interest, wouldn't we? Okay? So that's one way that we could end up paying less in interest, is to get a better APR. Okay? What's the other way that we could save money on this loan? I hope some of you got it, but yes, the answer is make bigger payments. Okay? Because if I make a bigger payment than just $200 a month, then the interest rate is not going to change. I pay the same in interest, but more of my money will go towards paying down the principal. And if more of my money goes towards paying down the principal, it's going to pay down that loan quicker. Okay, so the next month I would pay less in interest. Okay, so we're going to do those two scenarios. Okay, and I'm going to come back and make sure that I'm on the other board, because I'm going to move over to the other board. And because I want to do it side by side, so that you can see it. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here. We're going we're going to look at that board over there. I'm going to go over to that side and we're going to do it, okay? And if you have a calculator, you need to make sure that you're doing this in your notes as well. But here's this, we're going to do the same categories, okay? So the category is principal. Okay, we have payment. We have interest paid. We have principal paid. And we have our new balance, right? All right, so we have to figure out, all right, this the first way that we said we were going to save money on this is our APR. So on this one here, we're going to do our APR at 5%. Okay? And we're going to compare this to that, right? So we're going to go 5% on our APR. So our principal amount is going to stay the same. We're still borrowing $10,000. We're going to keep our payment the same for this scenario. So we're going to pay $2,400. Okay, and now, but here's the difference, right? Our APR is 5%. So what's 5% of 10,000? It's $500. So $500 went to interest. How much went to principal? $1,900, right? So our new balance is going to be $8,100. All right? $8,100 is our new principal amount, right? So let's do, the payment's going to stay the same, okay? We're still going to pay $2,400. Okay, what is 8,100 times 0.05? 405. That's how much we're going to pay in interest on this. So our principal pay is going to be $1,995. So I'm going to take 8,100 minus 1,995, and our new balance is going to be 6,105. I hope you guys can see that all right, but stay along. I want this amortization table to be in your notes. 6,105 is our new principal amount, right? We're still paying $2,400. Okay. The interest we're going to pay is going to be 6,105 times 0.05. We're going to round to 305. Okay, it's like 305.25 cents, but we're not doing decimals. So the principal that I pay is going to be $2,095. Right? So 6,105 minus 2,095. Our new balance is going to be 4,010. Okay? So our new principal amount is 4,010. I'm going to pay $2,400. Okay? What's the interest going to be on? It's going to be on this 4010, right? So I times 4,010 by 0.05, and I'm going to end up paying $200 in interest on this. So 2,200 went to principal. Okay? So my new balance is going to be 4,010 minus 2,200. The new balance is 1,810. Okay, notice something. That 1,810 is smaller than the payments we've been making for the year. So we're going to have this loan paid off this year, right? So let's figure out the interest first. It's going to be $181. Oh wait, no, that's wrong. That's 10%. We're doing 5%. Times 5% is going to be $90, okay, in interest. So if we pay $90 in interest and we only have 1,810 left to pay, okay, our payment this year is going to be 1,900 because we'll have that paid off, and our new balance is 0. Okay, now let's add this up. Okay, let's add up how much interest we paid on this. So we're going to do 500 plus 405 plus 305 plus 200 plus 90. We paid $1,500 in interest. Okay? So compare this now, 1,500, to this, 3,598, right? Which one would you rather get? Yeah, you want to pay, the lower the APR, the less interest that you will pay, right? So we said there were two ways that you could save money on a loan. That's going to be a quiz question, I guarantee it. I'm going to ask you, what are two ways that you can save money on a loan? One way, we got a lower APR, right? The other way is make bigger payments, okay? So let's do this scenario now. Let's do this $10,000 loan here, and we're going to keep the APR at 10% now, but we're going to make bigger payments, and we're going to see how that impacts this loan. Now remember that that one was $1,500. That should still be in your notes. So, let's do a 10% APR. Okay, and here's our payment now is going to be a bigger payment. So we're going to pay $300 a month instead of $200 a month. So here we were paying $200 a month. Over here we're paying $300 a month. Now, in this first year, and remember I said this earlier, but I want you to understand this. We're amortizing this annually. If we amortized it month by month, we'd actually pay a little less interest, because this first month when I make a $300 payment, it will pay down more of the principal. But for this illustration, it makes it easier just to do it annually. So the interest that I'm going to pay in this first year is going to be $1,000. Okay? Like I say, it would be actually a little less than $1,000 if I were actually paying it month by month. And it would be a little less, but even more. Okay? Let's not confuse that. So, how much of this went to principal? $2,600. So my new balance is going to be $7,400. So now, watch this. $7,400. My payment is $3,600 because I'm doing $300 a month. And my interest is going to be 10% of that, which is $740, right? So now the amount that went to, I know I should be able to do that in my head, but that's right. My amount that went to principal is $2,860. So my new balance is going to be $7,400 minus $2,860, $4,540. Okay? So this is my new principal amount. Oops, sorry, $4,540, right? Still paying $3,600 on it. Okay? I'm going to do that. 10% of that is going to be $454. Okay, and I'm going to do 3,600 minus 454, and 3,146 goes to the principal. So that minus that is going to be 4,540 minus 3,146, 1,394. Okay, so my new principal amount is 1,394. Okay. Now notice this is bigger than this, right? So we're going to pay it off this year. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to figure the interest. I'm just going to round up to $140, just 10% of that. Okay, and the principal is going to be 1,394. Okay, and so the payment that I'm going to make for this year is going to be $1,534. and my new balance is going to be what? 0. So let's look at the interest paid here. Now, remember, when we did 5% and did the same payment as that one, we paid $1,500 in interest, okay? Let's add up our interest here. 1,000 plus 740 plus 454 plus 140 equals 2,334. Okay? So that 2,334 compared to that just by making a bigger payment, right? Now, think about this. If we did a loan amortization where we made a bigger payment and had a lower APR, what would happen? We would pay even less in interest, right? Okay, so that's 3 loan amortization tables. I want you to make sure that you have those in your notes, okay? Probably what I will do for the quiz next time is I'll say, all right, here's the first 2 lines of this loan amortization table. Why don't you give me the 3rd line, okay? And I'll do one of the 3 loan amortization tables that we've done here in class, okay? But make sure that you have that down, okay? I can guarantee you that one of the questions that will be on the quiz will be, what are the 2 ways that you can save money on a loan? And the answer is, make a bigger payment, get a lower APR, right? I'm going to ask you what principal is. I'm going to ask you what interest is. I'm going to ask you what APR is. And I'm probably going to ask you, what is this called? And this is called a loan amortization table, okay? So when we say we're going to amortize a loan, this is what we're talking about, okay? Great to be with you. Sorry I couldn't be here in person, but hope you got everything down. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. Sub may be able to help you out, but I'll see you next time in class.